Hey y'all, welcome to our 5-minute virus-free Friday, a little inspiration before your weekend that I promise I won't use the 5-syllable word that begins with corona and ends with virus. My name is Susan Sparks. I'm the pastor of Madison Avenue Baptist Church here in New York City, and welcome. Today I just wanted to talk about something from a reality show, want to go deep. And it's from America's Next Top Model, if you've ever watched that program. Let me back up just a minute. I got the idea yesterday when Toby and I were walking to the grocery store, my husband Toby. We are sheltered in place, like many of you still are, and we only go to the grocery store once every 2 weeks, and it's kind of like a Mars mission. I feel like it's a Mars mission because we get all duded up with our mask and our rubber gloves, and we've got 2 backpacks and a rolling cart and container bags, and it's like we're a character out of that movie, The Martian. I don't know if you ever saw that. That's what we feel like. Of course, everybody else is in their masks, too, in their Mars missions as they go about their business. But we noticed something different on the way to the grocery store. Usually when you pass people in their masks, at least in New York, people keep a fairly flat facial expression. But one young woman that we passed actually looked at us through her mask and smiled. And instinctively, Toby and I immediately smiled back at her. Now, how would we know she smiled, you might ask? Because she smized. So any of you who've watched America's Next Top Model, well, Tyra Banks knows the term to smize. It is taking the words smile and eyes as putting them together, and smize means to smile with your eyes. You don't need necessarily to see the rest of someone's face. You could tell I'm smiling at you right now. You can tell I'm angry or bored right now. All you need is to see right here. And seeing that in another person and actually smiling ourselves can transform our entire outlook. Psychologists and scientists as far back as Charles Darwin have argued that emotions are regulated by behavior. And I find this fascinating because we usually think the opposite. We think that we smile if we're happy, but in fact, science is saying that we create happiness by smiling. For example, scientists discovered that when a person smiles, like I'm smiling now, it triggers physiological changes in the brain, changes that cool the blood, which in turn changes our mood, which in turn causes a feeling of happiness. Translation, we can change our inward emotion by changing our outward expression. And that's just the beginning. I mean, what we feel in our hearts manifests itself in our behavior, and how we act over time is what we become. Consistently reminding ourselves to smile throughout the day, whether we are with a mask or without, can eventually change our hearts. And when our hearts change, the way we encounter the world changes. That's when we truly can begin to affect others around us. It's like Louis Armstrong said, smile and the world will smile with you. Well, Louis was onto something, because again, scientists are studying this and are finding that just merely seeing a smile activates neurons in the brain that make you mimic the emotion you're seeing. Translation, when someone smiles at us, we smile back, and vice versa. And now, thanks to my empirical research on the way to the grocery store, we know that seeing a smile expressed through the eyes has the exact same effect. Here's the moral of the story. Just because you're wearing a mask and in the middle of a pandemic doesn't mean that you can't feel and share joy. In fact, it's a time that we need to feel it and share it more than ever. So try it this week. Put on your mask and smize. See what kind of reaction you get from people. See if they smize back. It's one of the most important things we can do. For as my dear friend Rabbi Bob Alper once said, when we are all called to our Maker, we will be held responsible for all the opportunities for joy that we ignored. Amen. I hope you have a great weekend, And I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, for our next 5-Minute Virus Free Friday.